Think about someone you know, maybe at work, maybe in your social circle, who always seems to come out on top. They are not necessarily the hardest worker, they are not always the most talented, but somehow they get the promotions, the opportunities, the respect, and somehow when things go wrong, the blame never quite lands on them. You have probably wondered, what do they know that I don't? The answer is not luck, it is not unfairness, though the world is sometimes unfair. The answer is that they understand something most people are never taught: how power actually moves between people, how decisions are really made, how influence is built, protected, and used. We are taught from childhood that working hard, being honest, and being kind is enough, and those things matter, but they are not the complete picture. The world also runs on psychology, strategy, perception, and positioning, and if you don't understand that layer of reality, you will keep being confused by outcomes that seem to make no sense. Robert Greene wrote the 48 Laws of Power to make that hidden layer visible, not to make you manipulative, but to make you aware. Because awareness is the beginning of real power, here are all 48 laws. Law 1. Never outshine the master. When you are in the presence of someone more powerful than you, resist the temptation to show off everything you know, make them feel superior. People in power are deeply protective of their status. If you make them feel threatened, even unintentionally, they will find a way to remove you. Your goal at this stage is not to be the brightest light in the room. It is to make the person above you feel like they are. The time to shine comes after you have earned enough trust and power to do so safely. Law 2. Never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use enemies. This law sounds cold, but Greene's reasoning is practical. Friends can become envious of your success in ways that strangers and enemies never do. A friend who feels overlooked can sabotage you quietly, while an enemy you bring close has everything to prove. They will work harder, be more loyal, and be more honest, because they know they are being watched. This does not mean distrust everyone. It means be careful about assuming loyalty simply because of friendship. Law 3. Conceal your intentions. Never reveal too early what you are planning or what you want. When people know your intentions, they can prepare a defense, position themselves against you, or take the opportunity before you do. Keep your goals close. Let people think you are moving in one direction while you are actually building toward another. Mystery creates an advantage. Transparency in competitive environments creates vulnerability. Law 4. Always say less than necessary. The more you speak, the more you reveal about your doubts, your plans, your weaknesses. Powerful people speak less and listen more. Silence makes others uncomfortable, and uncomfortable people fill the silence by revealing things they did not intend to share. When you do speak, every word carries more weight because it is scarce. Learn to be comfortable saying nothing. Law 5. So much depends on reputation. Guard it with your life. Your reputation arrives in a room before you do. It shapes how people receive your ideas, your requests, and your presence. A strong reputation multiplies your influence. A damaged one makes every action an uphill battle. Protect your reputation by being consistent, keeping your promises, and never letting an attack on your character go unanswered. A small lie or a public embarrassment left unaddressed can do more damage over time than any competitor. Law 6. Court attention at all costs. In a world full of noise, invisibility is a form of powerlessness. If people do not notice you, they cannot value you, promote you, or be influenced by you. Greene argues that it is better to be talked about, even controversially, than to be ignored. Develop a presence, be distinctive, create moments and work that people remember. The goal is not attention for its own sake. It is strategic visibility that builds influence over time. Law 7. Get others to do the work for you, but always take the credit. Powerful people use leverage. They identify people with skills they need, delegate effectively, and position themselves as the architect of the result. This is not about stealing credit dishonestly. It is about understanding that the person who is seen as responsible for an outcome holds the power, regardless of who did the technical work. Learn to be the strategist, let others execute, ensure the results are associated with your name. Law 8. Make other people come to you. Use bait if necessary. When you chase people for approval, for deals, for relationships, you hand them power over you. When you make people come to you, you control the terms, you control the timing, you control the environment. Create something valuable enough that others seek you out. Then let them move toward you. The person who initiates from a position of scarcity is always at a disadvantage. Law 9. Win through your actions, never through argument. Winning an argument often loses you the relationship. Even when you are completely right, proving it verbally creates resentment. The person who feels defeated in debate rarely changes their mind. They simply change their attitude toward you. Let your results speak, demonstrate rather than debate. A single impressive outcome does more for your credibility than 100 perfectly constructed arguments. Law 10. Infection. Avoid the unhappy and unlucky. This law is one Greene's readers most resist, but his reasoning is sound. Misery and negativity are genuinely contagious. Spending large amounts of time with people who are chronically unhappy, bitter, or unlucky begins to reshape your own thinking, your energy, and your expectations. This does not mean abandoning people who are struggling. It means being deliberate about who has sustained daily access to your mindset and your attention. Law 11. Learn to keep people dependent on you. The most secure position in any organization or relationship is to be genuinely needed. When others depend on you for something they cannot easily get elsewhere, a skill, a connection, a form of knowledge, you become difficult to remove and impossible to ignore. Identify what makes you uniquely valuable. Develop it, deepen it. Your security comes not from loyalty or goodwill, it comes from being irreplaceable. Law 12. Use selective honesty and generosity to disarm your victim. One genuine act of openness or generosity can lower someone's defenses entirely. When you have been consistently honest about small things, people begin to trust you about large ones. That trust, once established, is a form of influence. Greene notes that this can be used manipulatively, but the lesson for most people is simpler. Strategic generosity and genuine honesty build more durable influence than any form of pressure or deception. Law 13. When asking for help, appeal to self-interest, never mercy or gratitude. When you need something from someone, do not appeal to how much they owe you or how badly you need it. Appeal to what they stand to gain. People are motivated by their own interests, not by guilt or obligation. Before making any request, ask yourself, what does this person actually want? Then frame your request as the path toward that. Law 14. Pose as a friend, work as a spy. Information is power. The person who knows most about a situation, about the motivations, fears, and plans of others, holds an enormous advantage. Casual, friendly conversation is the easiest way to gather that information because people share freely when they feel comfortable. Ask questions, listen actively. People will tell you almost everything you need to know if you make them feel genuinely heard. Law 15. Crush your enemy totally. This is one of Greene's most controversial laws, and it is important to understand what he actually means. He is not advocating cruelty, he is warning against half measures. When you have a genuine adversary, someone actively working against your goals, a partial resolution often leaves them with just enough power to regroup and return stronger. In professional terms, this means resolving conflicts completely rather than leaving them unfinished. Address the root cause, don't just manage the symptom. Law 16. Use absence to increase respect and honor. Scarcity creates value. When you are always available, always visible, always responsive, people begin to take you for granted. Strategic absence, making yourself less accessible, reminds others of your value and makes your presence more anticipated. This applies to relationships, leadership, and personal brand. Do not always be the first to respond. Do not always show up. Let your absence be felt. If you are finding these laws useful, this is a good moment to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future breakdowns like this one. Now, let's continue. Law 17. Keep others in suspended terror. Cultivate an air of unpredictability. Predictable people are easy to manage. When others know exactly how you will react in every situation, they can plan around you, manipulate you, and dismiss you. Occasional unpredictability, changing your approach, surprising people with an unexpected response, keeps others slightly off balance and therefore more attentive to you. This does not mean being erratic or unreliable. It means not being so transparent that you become a known quantity that others can easily calculate. Law 18. Do not build fortresses to protect yourself. Isolation is dangerous. When things go wrong, many people retreat. They close off, stop communicating, and try to protect themselves by becoming less visible. Greene argues this is exactly the wrong move. Isolation cuts you off from the information, relationships, and opportunities you need to recover. Stay connected. Stay visible. The fortress you build to keep threats out also keeps allies out. Law 19. Know who you are dealing with. Do not offend the wrong person. Not everyone reacts to slights the same way. Some people forgive quickly, others never forget. Before you challenge, criticize, or dismiss someone, understand who you are actually dealing with. The person who seems insignificant today may have influence you haven't yet seen, or a long memory you haven't yet tested. Take time to understand people before you underestimate them. Law 20. Do not commit to anyone. When you commit too quickly to a person, a side, a position, you become predictable and you lose leverage. People who remain neutral and independent are courted by all sides. They hold influence precisely because their support is not guaranteed. This does not mean being unreliable or dishonest. It means maintaining enough independence that your endorsement means something because it was not automatic. Law 21. Play a sucker to catch a sucker. Seem dumber than your mark. People lower their guard around those they perceive as less intelligent or less informed than themselves. When you appear to know less than you do, others become careless. They reveal information, underestimate your capabilities, and make mistakes they would not make around someone they respected as an equal or superior. Strategic modesty is a powerful tool. Not all your knowledge needs to be visible. Law 22. Use the surrender tactic. Transform weakness into power. When you are genuinely outmatched in resources, in position, in strength, a direct confrontation almost always makes things worse. Greene recommends a different move: strategic surrender. Step back. Yield without yielding your goal. Use the time to rebuild, reposition, and wait for the right moment to act from a stronger position. Retreating is not the same as giving up. Sometimes it is the most intelligent move available. Law 23. Concentrate your forces. Spreading your energy across too many goals, projects, or relationships produces average results in all of them. The most powerful people concentrate their energy on one thing at a time and go deeper than everyone else. They mine one rich vein completely before moving to the next. Focus is a form of power. Intensity beats extensity every time. Law 24. Play the perfect courtier. This law is about the mastery of social environments. A courtier, in Greene's historical sense, is someone who understands the unspoken rules of the room they are in. They know when to speak and when to stay quiet. They know how to deliver uncomfortable truths without causing offense. They adapt their style to their audience without losing their substance. In modern terms, read the room? Always. Social intelligence is as important as any technical skill. Law 25. Recreate yourself. The identity you were given by your background, your family, and your circumstances is not the only identity available to you. Powerful people understand that identity is something you can consciously shape. They choose how they present themselves to the world, what they emphasize, what they shed, what narrative they build around their life. Do not accept the role others assigned you. Decide who you are becoming and build toward that deliberately. Law 26. Keep your hands clean. When things go wrong, as they inevitably do in any ambitious endeavor, the person holding the blame loses power. Powerful people are careful to distance themselves from mistakes and failures, using intermediaries and maintaining plausible separation from controversial decisions. This is not about dishonesty. It is about understanding that perception and reality both matter, and that being seen as competent and clean is a form of protection. Law 27. Play on people's need to believe to create a cult-like following. People have a deep need to believe in something larger than themselves, a cause, a vision, a leader. Those who offer a compelling sense of direction and meaning attract loyal followers almost effortlessly. The key is to give people something to believe in that is genuinely inspiring, and then deliver enough results to sustain that belief. Vision is magnetic. People follow those who seem to know clearly where they are going. Law 28. Enter action with boldness. Timid actions invite resistance. When you move hesitantly, apologetically, with excessive qualification, you signal doubt in your own position and others sense it. Boldness, by contrast, creates its own momentum. It signals conviction. It puts others on the back foot. When you have decided to act, act with full commitment. Half-hearted action produces half-hearted results and invites full-force opposition. Law 29. Plan all the way to the end. Most people plan to the point where things start going well and then stop, assuming the momentum will carry them. Greene argues this is where most failures happen. The end of a plan is where the most dangerous complications arise. Thinking through every likely outcome, including success and what comes after it, keeps you in control when others begin to react to your progress. Think further ahead than everyone else in the room. Law 30. Make your accomplishments seem effortless. When people see how hard you worked, they begin to believe that your results came from effort rather than natural ability, and effort, they tell themselves, can be replicated. When your accomplishments appear effortless, they seem like an expression of something rare and exceptional. Hide the process, show the result, let people wonder how you did it. Law 31. Control the options. Get others to play with the cards you deal. True control is not forcing someone to do something. It is arranging the situation so that all available choices lead toward the outcome you want. When you control the options, others feel they are deciding freely, and they are within the space you created for them. Before any important conversation or negotiation, think about what choices you want to offer and design the context so those are the choices that seem available. Law 32. Play to people's fantasies. Reality is often disappointing. People want to believe that transformation is possible, that things can be better, that there is a path to what they truly want. Those who speak to that desire, who offer a vivid, emotionally compelling picture of a better outcome, will always attract more energy and loyalty than those who only deal in hard facts. This is not about deception. It is about understanding that inspiration moves people in ways that information alone never can. We are 2/3 of the way through all 48 laws. If this breakdown is giving you a clearer picture of how influence really works, subscribe now so you get notified every time we release a video like this. Let's finish strong. Law 33. Discover each man's thumbscrew. Every person has a pressure point, a deep insecurity, a strong desire, a fear they have never fully resolved. Understanding what drives the people around you gives you enormous influence because you can speak directly to what they actually care about rather than what they say they care about. This is not about exploitation. In its best form, it is simply the foundation of genuine empathy, understanding what someone truly needs. Law 34. Be royal in your own fashion. Act like a king to be treated like one. How you carry yourself signals to others how they should treat you. People who present themselves with dignity, quiet confidence, and self-respect are treated accordingly. People who apologize for their existence, minimize their own value, or seek constant approval train others to see them as lesser. You set the standard for how you are treated. Set it deliberately and consistently. Law 35. Master the art of timing. The right action at the wrong moment accomplishes nothing, or worse, damages the very outcome it was meant to create. The most powerful people are patient. They read the environment carefully, wait for conditions to shift in their favor, and then act with full force. Never rush out of impatience. The person who can wait while others become anxious and make mistakes holds the deepest advantage. Law 36. Disdain things you cannot have. Ignoring them is the best revenge. When you visibly want something you cannot have, you advertise your own frustration and give power to the thing you cannot reach. Ignore it instead. Act as though it does not matter. This is not self-deception. It is control of your own attention and energy. Sometimes the most powerful move is to redirect your focus toward what you can build and let the rest become irrelevant. Law 37. Create compelling spectacles. Humans are visual, emotional creatures. We respond to drama, symbol, and spectacle in ways that bypass rational thought entirely. Those who understand this create moments, launches, presentations, gestures, announcements that are designed to be felt, not just understood. In any space you operate in, think about the experience you are creating for others, not just the information you are delivering. Law 38. Think as you like, but behave like others. Holding unconventional views or living by different values is not the problem. Announcing that to people who are not ready to hear it is. Those who make a public performance of being different invite resentment and resistance from people who feel implicitly criticized by the contrast. Keep your most unconventional thinking private. Reserve it for the people who are genuinely ready to engage with it. Blend in where blending in protects you. Law 39. Stir up waters to catch fish. Emotion is the enemy of clear thinking. When you can create frustration, urgency, or anxiety in an opponent while remaining calm yourself, you hold an enormous advantage. They are reacting, you are thinking. At the same time, protect your own emotional state. The person who can be provoked easily has given away one of their most important strategic assets. Law 40. Despise the free lunch. Nothing is truly free. Every gift, every favor, every no-strings-attached offer carries an implicit cost, in obligation, in positioning, or in the assumption of indebtedness. People who pay their own way maintain their independence. People who rely on the generosity of others slowly become shaped by it. Be generous yourself, but be careful about what you accept from others without full understanding of what it actually costs. Law 41. Avoid stepping into a great man's shoes. Inheriting a legacy, a role, a title, a position built by someone remarkable before you is one of the hardest situations to navigate. You will always be compared to the predecessor, and comparison almost always favors the past. The only way to escape that shadow is to build something entirely your own. Chart your own course, create your own identity. The fastest path out of a great person's shadow is to become great at something they never attempted. Law 42. Strike the shepherd, and the sheep will scatter. In any group, organization, or movement, there is usually one person whose influence holds everything together. When conflict arises, targeting the group broadly is exhausting and ineffective. Identify the source of the problem, the person driving the dissent or the dysfunction, and address that directly. Remove the center of gravity, and the problem often resolves itself. Law 43. Work on the hearts and minds of others. Force produces compliance. Influence produces commitment. People who are forced to do something will do the minimum required and look for the first opportunity to stop. People who genuinely want to do something bring their full energy. The most durable power is built not through pressure, but through making others genuinely want what you want. This requires understanding what they value and connecting your goals to those values authentically. Law 44. Disarm and infuriate with the mirror effect. Mirroring, reflecting someone's behavior, strategy, or position back at them, is deeply unsettling. It forces them to see themselves clearly, which is often uncomfortable. It also neutralizes their strategy because every move they make, you match. In negotiation and conflict, mirroring is a powerful tool for creating psychological pressure without visible aggression. Law 45, preach the need for change, but never reform too much at once. People say they want change. What they actually want is improvement within a framework they recognize. Change that is too dramatic, too fast, or too unfamiliar creates anxiety and resistance, even when the change is objectively beneficial. Move people toward new ideas gradually, let them adjust, let them feel that the new thing is a natural extension of what they already know and value. Law 46, never appear too perfect. Perfection breeds resentment. When you appear to have no flaws, no struggles, no failures, people do not admire you. They look for ways to bring you down. Occasionally revealing a small human imperfection makes you more relatable, more trusted, and far less of a target. You do not need to perform vulnerability, but you do not need to hide every mistake either. Let people see that you are human. It is a form of strategic protection. Law 47, do not go past the mark you aimed for. In victory, know when to stop. Success creates its own momentum, and that momentum can carry you past the point where you should have stopped. Every victory changes the environment. What worked to get you here may not work and may actively cause harm if you keep going past the right stopping point. After a win, pause, assess. Resist the temptation to immediately push further. The ability to recognize when you have achieved enough and to consolidate rather than overreach is one of the rarest and most valuable forms of strategic intelligence. Law 48. Assume formlessness. This is the final law, and in many ways, the deepest. Fixed, rigid systems are easy to attack because they are predictable. What cannot be pinned down cannot be targeted. Like water, the most powerful people adapt their form to the situation, flexible in method, constant in goal. Do not commit so completely to one way of operating that you cannot change when the environment does. Hold your strategies loosely, hold your values firmly, let everything else be adaptable. And that is the complete breakdown of all 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. And if you stayed all the way to the end, you now have a clearer picture of how influence, power, and human dynamics actually work than the vast majority of people ever will. Leave a comment below with the law that surprised you the most, or the one you have already seen play out in your own life. If this video gave you value, please share it with someone who would benefit from it. A friend, a colleague, someone navigating a difficult situation at work or in their personal life. Sometimes one idea at the right moment changes everything, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so now. Thank you for watching. Take care of yourself, stay aware, and we wish you a very bright future ahead. See you in the next one.